Good morning, my dear students. Welcome to the fifth video I am making for you based on Arms and the Man, Act 1. So if you haven't watched the four previous videos, I want you to stop here, right now, and go back and watch the four videos before coming to this video. And we were going part by part of Act 1. And in the last video, we stopped at a very dramatic situation. So the entire act takes place in Raina Petkov's bedroom in the middle of the night when a Serbian soldier enters into her room as a fugitive. He reveals himself to be a Swiss mercenary. And even though he threatens her first, she feels sorry for him. And she gives him refuge in her room, and she even hides him from the Russian officer who came to inspect her room. After that, the man and the woman start talking to each other. So this is where the dramatic tension heightens. We have an unmarried woman who is engaged to a soldier, and we have an enemy soldier who is extremely handsome, although in a deplorable state. And they have come into contact with each other in the middle of the night, and it is quite a scandalous situation because a young lady of her age and position in life shouldn't be at a situation like this. So that complicates the dramatic situation, dramatic tension here. And where we left off was they were having this conversation, and with talking to this strange man, Raina Petkov's illusions, romantic illusions and beliefs about the heroism, patriotism and all the other romantic ideals associated with the war and the battlefield are shattering one by one. First of all, this is a soldier who is a common man. He's a common human being who has hunger, who has emotions, who has trauma, and who startles at sudden noises and sudden movements. So her ideals of a romantic war hero is shattered in him. Then again, he talks about the battle of Slivnitsa. That is the battle where her fiance, Sergius, was victorious. He was instrumental in winning that battle for Bulgaria. But she gets a new picture from this strange man. He says that it was purely unprofessional how the Bulgarian army led a cavalry regiment to fight the artillery who was armed with guns and all. But there was a twist of events, a wicked twist of events where the Serbian army, who was overconfident at that point of time, they all of a sudden they get the news that the ammunition sent to them was wrong. They actually got the wrong bullets, so they won't be able to fire for the next 10 minutes. So that is how the cavalry army led by Sergius won the Battle of Slivnitsa for Bulgaria. So this was new information for her. Now she's really offended that the stranger is making fun of her betrothed Sergius. Now she finally shows the portrait of Sergius and says that this is the man I'm going to marry. And now the strange man realizes what a fool he has made of himself, that he has offended this young lady who had given him refuge. He apologizes, and that is where we stopped. That a turn of events happened. There is something cold between Raina and the strange man now. Earlier, she was feeling a little warm for him. Now that he has abused Sergius and ridiculed him, Raina is actually feeling a little cold towards him at this point of time. So this is where we stopped in the last video. Let's see what happens after this. So much the better for you.
How?
You're my enemy and you are at my mercy. What would I do if I were a professional soldier?
True, dear young lady. You're always right. I know how good you've been to me. To my last hour I shall remember those 3 chocolate creams. It was unsoldierly, but it was angelic.
Thank you. And now I'll do a soldierly thing. You cannot stay here after what you have just said about my future husband. But I will go out on the balcony and see whether it is safe for you to climb down into the street.
Down that water pipe? Stop. Wait, I can't. I daren't. The very thought of it makes me giddy. I came up it fast enough with death behind me, but to face it now in cold blood, it's no use. I give up. I'm beaten. Give the alarm.
Come, don't be disheartened. Oh, you are a very poor soldier, a chocolate cream soldier. Come, cheer up. It takes less courage to climb down than to face capture. Remember that.
No, capture only means death, and death is sleep. Oh, sleep, 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 undisturbed sleep. Climbing down the pipe means doing something, exerting myself, thinking. Death 10 times over first.
Are you as sleepy as that?
I've not had 2 hours undisturbed sleep since I joined. I haven't closed my eyes for 48 hours.
But what am I to do with you?
Of course I must do something. You see, sleep or no sleep, hunger or no hunger, tired or no tired, you can always do a thing when you know it must be done. Well, that pipe must be got down. You hear that, chocolate cream soldier?
But if you fall?
I shall sleep as if the stones were a feather bed. Goodbye.
Stop! They'll kill you.
Never mind, this sort of thing is all in the day's work. I'm bound to take my chance. Now do what I tell you. Put out that candle so that they shan't see the light when I open the shutters, and keep away from the window, whatever you do. If they see me, they're sure to have a shot at me.
They're sure to see you. It's bright moonlight. I'll save you. Oh, how can you be so indifferent? You want me to save you, don't you?
I really don't want to be troublesome. I'm not indifferent, dear young lady, I assure you. But how is it to be done?
Come away from the window. She takes him firmly back to the middle of the room. The moment she releases him, he turns mechanically towards the window again. She seizes him and turns him back, exclaiming, "Please!" He becomes motionless, like a hypnotized rabbit, his fatigue gaining fast on him. She releases him and addresses him patronizingly. "Now listen. You must trust to our hospitality. You do not yet know in whose house you are. I am a Petkoff.
A pet what?
I mean that I belong to the family of the Petkoffs, the richest and best known in our country."
Oh, yes, of course, I beg your pardon. The Petkoffs, to be sure. How stupid of me.
You know you never heard of them until this moment. How can you stoop to pretend?
Forgive me, I'm too tired to think, and the change of subject was too much for me. Don't scold me.
I forgot. It might make you cry. I must tell you that my father holds the highest command of any Bulgarian in our army. He is a major.
A major? Bless me, think of that.
You showed great ignorance in thinking that it was necessary to climb up to the balcony, because ours is the only private house that has 2 rows of windows. There's a flight of stairs inside to get up and down by.
Stairs? How grand! You live in a great luxury indeed, dear young lady.
Do you know what a library is?
A library? You mean a room full of books?
Yes, we have one, the only one in Bulgaria.
Actually, a real library. I should like to see that.
I tell you these things to show you that you are not in the house of ignorant country folk who would kill you the moment they saw your Serbian uniform, but among civilized people. We go to Bucharest every year for the opera season, and I have spent a whole month in Vienna.
I saw that, dear young lady. I saw at once that you knew the world.
Have you ever seen the opera of Ernani?
Is that the one with the devil in the red velvet and a soldier's chorus?
No?
Then I don't know it.
I thought you might have remembered the great scene where Ernani, flying from his foes just as you are tonight, takes refuge in the castle of his bitterest enemy, an old Castilian noble. The noble refuses to give him up. His guest is sacred to him.
Have you people got that notion?
My mother and I can understand that notion, as you call it. And if instead of threatening me with your pistol as you did, you had simply thrown yourself as a fugitive on our hospitality, you would have been safe. You would have been as safe as in your father's house.
Quite sure.
Oh, it's useless to try to make you understand.
Don't be angry. You see how awkward it would be for me if there were any mistake. My father is a very hospitable man. He keeps 6 hotels, but I could not trust him as far as that. What about your father?
He is away at Slivnitsa fighting for his country. I assure I answer for your safety. There is my hand in pledge. Will that reassure you?
Better not touch my hand, dear young lady. I must have a wash first.
That is very nice of you. I see that you are a gentleman.
Eh?
You must not think I am surprised. Bulgarians of really good standing, people in our position, wash their hands nearly every day. So you see, I can appreciate your delicacy. You may take my hand.
I thank you, gracious young lady. I feel safe at last. And now, would you mind breaking the news to your mother? I had better not stay here secretly longer than is necessary.
If you will be so good as to keep perfectly still whilst I am away.
Certainly.
He sits down on the ottoman. Raina goes to the bed and wraps herself in the fur cloak. His eyes close. She goes to the door. Turning for a last look at him, she sees that he is dropping off to sleep. You are not going to sleep, are you? Do you hear? Wake up. You're falling asleep.
Falling asleep? No, not the least in the world. I was just thinking. It's all right. I am wide awake.
Will you please stand up while I'm away? All the time, mind.
Certainly, you may depend upon me.
Raina looks doubtfully at him. He smiles weakly. She goes reluctantly, turning again at the door, and almost catching him in the act of yawning, she goes out. So we have seen that the man has offended Raina now. Raina has become cold towards him because he has just insulted her fiancé, Sergius. He has called Sergius a fool, a Don Quixote character and all. While they are talking like this, he tries to make her understand that it was really unprofessional what Sergius did at the Battle of Slivnitsa. But Raina says, now I've been very unsoldierly too. If I was soldierly, I would have turned you in. When the Russian officer came, I would have told him that you are hiding in my room. Now I want to do the professional thing, a soldierly thing. I want you to go out of the room. I want you to climb down the water pipe. സോ റൈന പറയുന്നു ഇനി ഇവിടെ നിൽക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല, എന്തായാലും എൻ്റെ ചേട്ടനെ ഇൻസൾട്ടൊക്കെ ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇനിയിപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ അങ്ങനെ നിൽക്കണ്ട എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ആറ്റിറ്റ്യൂഡും കൂടെ അതിനകത്തുണ്ട്. സോ യു ഹാവ് ടു ക്ലൈംബ് ദ വാട്ടർ പൈപ്പ്. ആൻഡ് ദ മാൻ ഇസ് സ്റ്റിൽ വെരി thankful towards her. He says that, to my last hour, I shall remember those 3 chocolate creams. I am really indebted to you. You gave me chocolate creams when I was really hungry and tired, and I will always remember it till the end of my life. But then again, when Raina says that he has to climb down the water pipe, the man gets really scared because he doesn't want to even think about climbing down the water pipe. He says that the very thought of it makes him giddy. See here, the very thought of it makes me giddy. So what happens is, when he came up the water pipe, what happened was he was being chased by enemies. He had the death behind him. So somehow he wasn't even thinking about the risk of falling down the water pipe when he was climbing up it, because he was running for his life. അപ്പോൾ അയാൾ ഓടി വന്നപ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അയാൾ മരണത്തിനെതിരെയായിട്ടാണ് ഓടി വന്നത്. അതുകൊണ്ട് ആ ഒരു ആവേശത്തിൽ അയാൾ എങ്ങനെയോ ഈ പൈപ്പ് വഴി മുകളിലേക്ക് കയറി. പക്ഷെ അതുവഴി താഴേക്ക് ഇറങ്ങുന്ന കാര്യം ഇയാൾക്ക് സങ്കല്പിക്കാൻ പോലും കഴിയുന്നില്ല. അതിനിടയ്ക്ക് വേറൊരു കാര്യം ഞാൻ പറയാൻ മിസ്സായിപ്പോയി. forgot to mention something, which is while they are talking about Sergius and all, when they were talking about the professionalism of war. Suddenly, shots are heard in the distance. Somebody is shooting in the streets at a distance, and now the man is very startled. You know how his disposition is. He gets startled at minute noises. Then shots are actually death to him. So he's getting startled, and Raina has totally become cold to him at this point of time. So these shots, it is again another dramatic device. It is used to signify a turn of events or a turn of conversation. Because till that point they were discussing about the cavalry charge at the Battle of Slivnitsa. But now the conversation will move on to something else. So these series of shots is actually a breaking point between two of these different conversations. Okay, I hope you understand. അതുവരെ അവർ സർജസിനെ പറ്റിയിട്ടാണ് സംസാരിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരുന്നത്. ഷോർട്സ് കേട്ടതിന് ശേഷം അവരുടെ കോൺവെർസേഷൻ വേറൊരു ഡയറക്ഷനിലേക്ക് പോകുന്നു. So anyway, this man, he can't even think about climbing down the water pipe. And moreover, he says that climbing down the water pipe means doing something, exerting myself, thinking, death 10 times over first. He says that he can't even think of doing anything now. Being active is beyond his understanding now, because he's so tired and drowsy. He hasn't slept for a long time. He has been on the run for 3 days now, and he hasn't eaten much too. So climbing down the pipe, it is such a huge physical activity. It means that he will be exerting himself. Also, he has to put his mind to exercise, like he has to think. Rather than thinking or physically exerting, he is ready to accept death. He says that death 10 times over first. മരിക്കുന്നതാണ് അതിനേക്കാളും നല്ല. So we understand the extent of his tiredness and the ferocity of the death that was chasing him before. That is why he climbed up the water pipe without thinking anything. But now that the death is away from him, he can't even think about climbing down the water pipe. So then he further reveals that he hasn't slept a wink for the last 48 hours. 2 ദിവസമായി ഉറങ്ങിയിട്ട്. So you can imagine the plight of this man. But he still, and Raina says, so what am I to do with you? I am a young lady. I can't harbor a fugitive for that long. It will bring scandal for me. എനിക്ക് പേരുദോഷം വരും. ആ ഒരു രീതിയിൽ പറയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് he does the chivalrous thing. He decides to climb down the water pipe. He is actually taking a risk of falling down the water pipe, and there are stones underneath, stones below. So there is a risk that he might fall on the stones. So even though when he first came into his room, we thought that he was very unchivalrous and he doesn't have gentleman manners and all. But then when we look at his actions, when the Russian officer was about to come in, he gave back Raina his fur coat. Her fur coat. Also, at this point of time, when he sees that Raina is helpless and she could be inviting a scandal, he decides to do the right thing and he decides to climb down the water pipe, even though it is very fearful for him. It's very frightening to him. So anyway, when he decides to climb down, so Raina is now concerned. Raina asks, but if you fall, Veenalo, I shall sleep as if the stones were a feather bed. ഈ കല്ലുകൾ ഒരു മെത്തയാണെന്ന് കരുതി ഞാൻ അതിൻ്റെ മേലെ കിടക്കും, അതിൻ്റെ മേലെ കിടന്ന് ഉറങ്ങും. So he is welcoming, he's finally accepted that he is going to die anyway. So even if he falls down on the stones and dies, it is okay. Now Raina feels very sorry for this tender-hearted man. He is very tender-hearted indeed. He is a soldier who gets scared. He is like a schoolboy. He even has some cute features on his face. And again, he loves chocolate creams and all. So Raina finally, at the last moment, Raina stops him from exiting the room. She says that, she even calls him chocolate cream soldier at this point of time. That's the first time she gives this nickname to the man, Chocolate Cream Soldier. The very important nickname is Chocolate Cream Soldier. Its significance will be revealed later in the play. So, Raina, when she feels pity towards him, he says, "Oh, you are a poor soldier, a chocolate cream soldier." അത് പറയുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് റൈനയുടെ വോയിസിൽ ഒരു ടെൻഡർനെസ്, ഒരു സ്നേഹമൊക്കെ വരുന്നുണ്ട്. ദർ ഇസ് എ വോയിസ് ഓഫ് ടെൻഡർനെസ് ആൻഡ് love towards him, even love towards him. Rather than sympathy, she is having certain tender emotions towards this man at this point of time. So she decides to save him, and to this end, she reveals some information about her and her family. It proves that she is capable of saving her. So this is again a sudden turn of events, that when Raina feels sorry for him and when she decides to save him, this is a sudden turn of events. And then she reveals certain information about him. There is a series of revelations about him, and this is all very witty. ഒരു വളരെ തമാശയായിട്ടുള്ള രീതിയിലാണ് ഷോ അത് അവതരിപ്പിച്ചേക്കുന്നത്. വി കൻ സീ ഷോസ് ക്യാരക്ടറിസ്റ്റിക് വിറ്റ് വെൻ റൈന റിവീൽസ് ദീസ് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ അബൌട്ട് ഹെർ ആൻഡ് ഹെർ ഫാമിലി. ഫസ്റ്റ് ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ ഷീ പ്രൊവൈഡ്സ് ഇസ്, I am a pet cough. That is what Raina says first. I am a pet cough. So she is very proud when she says that I am a pet cough. Appo nammade man, he has never heard of pet coughs. He has heard about pet cat and pet dog and all, but never heard about pet cough. So he was like, a pet what? And then Raina says, I belong to the family of Petkoffs, the richest and the best known in our country. So she says that I belong to the family of Petkoffs. We are the richest and the best known in our country. So she is showing off her family's noble origins. Like you have not come into an ordinary household. We are very rich and we are one of the best families in the country. The next information she gives out is that her father holds the highest command of any Bulgarian in our army. He is a major. She is very proud when she says this. So, Bulgarian army le ഏറ്റവും highest command ഉള്ള ഒരാളാണ് എൻ്റെ അച്ഛൻ ആരാണ്? He is a major. So, here she is showing off the family's ideals of patriotism and nationalism, and they also have a lot of political connections and high ranks and all. And another information, the man pretends that he is impressed with all this. He doesn't know why she is actually saying all these things at this point of time. He is like, oh, wonderful, that is great, a major, bless me. That's what he is saying at this point. And even when she says that she is of the Petkoffs, he said, oh, okay, yeah, I have heard of them. ഞാൻ കേട്ടിട്ടുണ്ട് എന്നൊക്കെ ഇങ്ങനെ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്, even though he hasn't heard about them at all. And the third information she gives is, ours is the only private house that has 2 rows of windows. There's a flight of stairs inside to get up and down by. Look at this third point. Okay. So when you climbed up the water pipe, did you even think that this is the only house in the neighborhood with 2 floors? 2 നില വീട്, നമ്മുടെ വീട് മാത്രമാണ് ഈ ഒരു നെയ്ബർഹുഡിൽ. And that too a private house. Ours is the only private house which is 2-storied. We even have a flight of stairs inside. അകത്ത് ഒരു സ്റ്റെയർ കേസ് കൂടെ ഉണ്ട്. ഇതൊക്കെ ഒരു സ്റ്റേറ്റസ് സിമ്പിൾ ആയിട്ടാണ് പുള്ളിക്കാരി ഷോ ഓഫ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. സോ ഷീ ഈസ് ഷോയിങ് ഓഫ് her family's wealth and upper class belonging here. And then fourth point she reveals about herself is, we have a library, the only library in Bulgaria, only library in a house, that is. So she is trying to say that we are not common folk. We are very sophisticated and educated. We even read books for leisure. So we have a library, the only home library in Bulgaria. So the fifth information she reveals is that we are not really ignorant country folk. We wouldn't kill you at the moment we saw your Serbian uniform. Serbian uniform കണ്ട ഉടനെ നിന്നെ കൊല്ലുന്ന വിവരദോഷികളൊന്നും അല്ല ഞങ്ങൾ ആരൊക്കെയാണെന്നറിയാം. We are very civilized people. We go to Bucharest every year for opera season, and I have spent a whole month in Vienna. So she's again saying that we are very cultured and civilized and educated. We even go to operas. We watch operas in this city, Bucharest. I have spent a whole month in Vienna. I have traveled much. I am not like a country girl or anything. Again, she gives testimonies of sophistication which she has. She says that the family, they are enthusiasts of opera. Opera is most often seen as a status symbol rather than, people pretend that they like opera rather than really genuinely liking opera so that they can pass off as sophisticated. So anyway, the family is claimed to have high romantic ideals of saving refugees. So she talks about this opera of Ernani. എർണാനിയുടെ ഒരു ഓപ്പറയെ പറ്റി പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. അതിൽ ഒരു ക്യാരക്ടർ ഉണ്ട്. ദർ ഇസ് എ കാസ്റ്റീലിയൻ നോബിൾ ഇൻ ദാറ്റ് ക്യാരക്ടർ. One of his enemies take refuge in his castle, but he does not give up this person. He has noble ideals. അയാളുടെ വീട്ടിൽ അഭയം പ്രാപിച്ച ഒരു എനിമിയെ പോലും അയാൾ കൊല്ലുന്നില്ല, അയാളെ പ്രൊട്ടക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പം ഇങ്ങനെ ഓപ്പറയുടെ കാര്യമൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞു. അപ്പം the man is really he is hopeful at this point. He is asking, do you your family, have your people got that notion? Is your family also like that? Would they save me? I am a fugitive, I have come to your house for refuge. Do you think your family will save me? And then Raina reassures that her family will indeed save him because her father is actually an army man. Right now he is at the battle, he is at Slivnitsa, but her mother is here, and she is sure that Catherine also feels the same way. And Raina says something here, you will be as safe as in your father's house. സ്വന്തം അച്ഛൻ്റെ വീട്ടിൽ എന്നതുപോലെ സേഫ് ആയിരിക്കും ഇവിടെ. The man feels witty at this point of time. Are you quite sure about that? Now we get a snippet of information about this man's personal life. But he says that don't be angry. You see how awkward it would be for me if there was a mistake. My father is a hospitable man. He keeps 6 hotels, but I couldn't trust him as far as that. Okay, he reveals some information about him. I'm saying that my father is a hospitable man because he owns 6 hotels. ഇയാളെ പറ്റി ഒരു പുതിയ ഇൻഫർമേഷൻ നമുക്ക് കിട്ടി. His father actually runs 6 hotels. That means he must be rich, right? But he does not trust his father to keep him safe. So again, this piece of information about his father is very important. Its importance will be revealed later. And here also, when he gives out this information, we can see Shaw's characteristic wit. And Raina says that yes, indeed, you will be safe here. So to prove that I will save you, I will offer you my hand. You can kiss my hand. So that is how things are in this particular part of the world. Eastern Europe ആണ്. ഒരു പ്രോമിസ് ഒക്കെ കൊടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ കൈയൊക്കെ കൊടുക്കും. ഒരു സ്ത്രീയാണ് പുരുഷന് പ്രോമിസ് കൊടുക്കുന്നെങ്കിൽ കൈയൊക്കെ കൊടുക്കും കിസ് ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്, ആസ് എ ഷോർട്ടി ഫോർ ഹർ വേർഡ്. ആൻഡ് ദെൻ when he hesitates, see, this is where she gives the hand to be kissed. Look what she's wearing. She's wearing like a nightgown. Here it is not that flimsy, but originally, it's very see-through nightgown. And look at his uniform. Lot of mud, and then there is blood and all. Okay. So anyway, she makes another claim now. She feels like he doesn't kiss her hand because he is in a very dirty condition. അയാൾ കുറേ ദിവസമായി ഇങ്ങനെ കുളിച്ചിട്ടൊന്നുമില്ല, ഓടി നടക്കുമല്ലേ. ഹീസ് ബിൻ ഓൺ ദ റൺ. സോ മേ ബി ദാറ്റ്സ് വൈ ഹീ ഈസ് നോട്ട് കിസ്സിങ് ഹർ ഹാൻഡ്. നൗ ഷീ ഈസ് വെരി ഇംപ്രസ്ഡ് വിത്ത് ഹിം. she feels like he's a gentleman, because gentlemen usually they keep very clean, and they keep their mouth clean so that they can kiss people at a short notice and all. And she reveals another claim about her upper class identity, that people in our position wash their hands nearly every day. മിക്കവാറും എല്ലാ ദിവസമൊക്കെ കൈയൊക്കെ കഴുകാറുണ്ട്. നമ്മൾ അപ്പർ ക്ലാസ്സുകാരൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ മിക്കവാറും കൈയൊക്കെ കഴുകാറുണ്ട്. അതുപോലെ വി ആർ നോട്ട് കോമൺ ഫോക്ക് ഹു ഡോണ്ട് വാഷ് ദെയർ ഹാൻഡ്സ്. വി ഈവൻ ടേക്ക് ഷവേഴ്സ്. കുളിക്കുന്നതൊക്കെ ഭയങ്കര ലക്ഷറിയാണ്. ഈവൻ അപ്പർ ക്ലാസ്സുകാർക്ക് മാത്രമേ അത് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ എന്നുള്ള രീതിയാണ്. Which is actually true, which was true at this particular point of time. Bulgaria at this point, it is a very cold country, and taking a hot bath is a luxury. Not everyone can do it. The lower class people, they live their whole life without taking a proper bath. And she reveals that she belongs to the upper class, and this is a proof that she washes her hand every day. That proves that I am not a common person. I am an upper class person. So we again see Shaw's wit here when he writes about upper class characteristics. Now she says that, okay, I am going to go downstairs to get my mother. I want you to stay awake. She knows that the man is very sleepy and tired at this point of time. He sits down at the ottoman, and Raina goes to the bed. She wraps herself in the fur cloak, and she goes towards a door, and Raina orders that you have to stand still. You shouldn't sit down on the bed. You shouldn't fall asleep. I'm going down to get my mother. And when Raina exits, the man is feeling extremely sleepy and drowsy now. All he wants to get is a minute of sleep. Now, slowly he reminds himself that he has to stay awake, but he slowly sits on the bed. The bed is very comfortable. He hasn't sat anywhere that comfortable in a long time, ever since he joined the army. Now he knows that there is danger around him, but slowly he drifts to sleep.
Sleep, 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 sleep. Oh, where am I? That's what I want to know. Where am I? Let's keep awake. Nothing keeps me awake except danger. Remember that. Danger, 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 danger. Where's danger? Must find it. What am I looking for? Sleep. Danger. I don't know. Oh yes, now I know. All right, now I'm to go to bed, but not to sleep. Be sure not to sleep because of danger. Not to lie down either, only to sit down.
He sits on the bed. A blissful expression comes to his face.
Ah.
With a happy sigh, he sinks back at full length, lifts his boots into the bed with a final effort, and falls fast asleep instantly. Now Raina comes back with her mother, Catherine. Raina says, "He's gone. I left him here." Here? Then he must have climbed down from the... Raina sees him. Oh! Catherine is scandalized. Well, he's fast asleep, the brute. Shh! Sir! 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 Don't, Mama. The poor darling is worn out. Let him sleep. The poor darling? Raina! The man sleeps profoundly. The man has fallen down. So at this point, Raina has gone down. She comes back with Catherine a bit later, and it's obvious that Raina has given Catherine all the information, an account of all the events that has happened in her room off stage. Why does it happen off stage? So this is another dramatic device used to avoid repetition. So just imagine if this had happened in front of us. We have already seen all these events unfold on the stage. So it would be a repetition and boring for us to hear Raina say all these things to Catherine again. So when they come back to the room, they don't immediately see him because he is already sleeping on Raina's bed at this point of time. And finally, when they witness the man sleeping on Raina's bed, Catherine is extremely shocked and scandalized because she sees a strange man sleeping on her young unwed daughter's bed, which is a scandal indeed. And then she calls him, he's fast asleep, the brute. He calls him brute, a monster, a person with no manners. And then Raina is actually looking at him in a very tender manner. He says, shh, don't wake him, please. Now Catherine is trying to wake him. He's shaking him. Sir, 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 wake up, please. And Raina says, don't, Mama. The poor darling is worn out. Let him sleep. Oh, he's just a poor darling. He's really tired and worn out. Just let him sleep for now. Now, Catherine is further shocked that Raina calls this strange man, that to an enemy, poor darling. Raina has, by this point, we see that she has warmed up so much to this man. She even has tender emotions towards this man, because this man is a very common man who has human weaknesses. So by the end of the act, we see this man sleeping profoundly, peacefully on Raina's bed. Now this is a dramatic ending. The audience, we are kept in anticipation of what can happen after this. It's a very high point in the drama when we see this man, this strange man, sleeping on the girl's bed as the girl and the mother looks at him with different emotions. So that brings us to the end of Act 1. So this is the scene, I guess, maybe when he awakes or something. So the man in Raina's bed. And that brings us to the end of Act 1. We have successfully completed it. I hope this was entertaining and beneficial for you. That you have thoroughly enjoyed lessons with me. Thank you so much for your attention and watching till now. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.